Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to the holding pattern, better known as the eastern wing of the stink bug works. Why do I call it a holding pattern? Well, we're waiting for stuff to come in the mail. I got a whole bunch of stuff coming in the mail. A couple of things will surprise you, and a couple of things won't. One of the things coming is my sheets of EPP foam that I'm going to build a carrying case for the wood outrigger. And I'll bet you, with just modifications of the internal structure that holds the boat, that same outer shape would work with the Silver Bullet, although I think it being taller, it would have to be more than 4.5 inches high. It'd have to be 5.5 inches high. But I can do that. I have the technology. And you guys are going to like the build on this. The hardest part is going to be cutting the foam. Now, I'm going to use a bandsaw for most of it, and a bandsaw works just fantastic. But not everybody has access to a bandsaw. In which case, you see that big knife sticking up over there? See that big knife right there? That knife right there? That thing has a razor edge on it, and it cuts foam like nobody's business. So a T-square or a straight edge and a good sharp tool will also cut it. It's a little more labor intensive. You got to think about it a little bit. The setup time's longer on the saw, but I'll make enough to make it worthwhile, because you got to go all the way around it with 4.5 and 3.5 inch strips. So there'll be some work there. And one of the things I've learned about EPP foam, and I picked this up from a guy named Harris Nelson. He's since died, but this guy used to build the most gorgeous RC airplanes. He was one of the first people I ever knew to successfully build wingerons, where instead of ailerons, the whole wing moved, you know? And he was doing that, he was doing that back in the 70s. Yeah, he was just a first-class builder. But he also produced some EPP slope racers. I still have one. I'll tell you about it sometime. And in there, he made a comment in his instructions. And as I got to working with it, I found out he was absolutely true. That contact cement, Wellwood contact cement, when used on EPP foam, that stuff is structural, meaning the glue is stronger than the foam, and the foam is plenty strong, and the glue's flexible. It's just the ticket. If I wanted to get completely crazy, it probably costs a lot, but what we used for covering the EPP fuselage was shoe goo thinned with toluene. Now, that's pretty nasty stuff, you know. Toluene is what glue sniffers sniff, so you want to do this in a place with good ventilation. But several coats of that would give it a good hard layer. And I'm thinking the EPP is going to be black. You could smooth the edges, put this shoe goo on there, and it it would be a bomb-proof suitcase. It would be a briefcase. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it bare foam. Oh, just so you know, if you look at the plans there, you can see there's a notch right here. I'm going to put a piece of PVC tube across there as a handle. That's going to be where I carry it. It's going to have a handle. How cool is that? Anyway, another thing I want to talk about is the next challenge. Now, I've already thrown out the figure 8 challenge, and that's what you guys are going to work on until Thanksgiving. And thus far, both the challenges I've given have not required that you build anything special. I'm thinking that you might have to build a boat from the ground up or modify an existing boat for my future challenge. Now let's talk about challenges for a moment. Steve New and I used to hang around all the time. One of the things Steve got involved with was at San Diego State. They had an aeronautics department, and there's the nationwide industry or conglomeration called the AIAA, and that's the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astrodynamics or some such name. Anyway, it's got a lot of A's in it. So every year, the AIAA would put out a design build contest for college students and that were taking these kind of classes, aeronautic classes, and it was, to help inspire the kids and get them some hand-on experience and, just motivate kids. And every year they had a different challenge. One year was, you had to fly a gallon of water from here to there and then unload the gallon of water and fly back. And another time you had to do, tennis balls. And they always had something. And it was amazing what these kids would come up with. They'd come up with these just harebrained ideas that didn't have a chance of flying. There's a reason, folks, airplanes all look pretty much the same. And that reason is called wind tunnels. The wind likes airplanes that look a certain way, with the big wing in the front and a little wing in the back and one fuselage in the middle. Generally, that's what wind tunnels like. Some people deviate, but essentially, that's wind tunnels. It's the reason all gliders look the same nowadays. Because they're using the same wind tunnel data. Anyway, getting back to the AIAA contest, I may incorporate some of that thinking where you have to take an item, a household item, and move it from here to there. And I'm seriously thinking, and I want to see what you guys think about this, that I will take an inexpensive common household item that everybody has, and you'll have to move it around some sort of course, and the item has to stay 100% dry. There can't be as much as a drop of water on it. One drop of water, you're out. What do you think about that? Just thinking aloud, boys and girls, just thinking aloud. Right now we're working on the figure 8, and it's the basic same rules as before, just a twist in the course and more laps, because you guys seem to knock out 10 laps pretty easily, except for the the poor little Jet Jam, you know. but you know, he did his best. I let him enter another boat as well. So I think everybody that entered got a prize. I think Big B didn't get one, but of course he needs a prize now, boy. He lost, losing that boat. Man, that had to hurt. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents now. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.